If you're thinking of selling at some point during the course of the year, then we'll be covering off some important facts which may affect your decision on when you think it's best to pull the trigger on your sale. So, without further ado, and make sure you watch the video to the end. Welcome back, Guy. Welcome back, Steve.
Hi,
Mark. April sales market update. March was another very busy month.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was a record month for both offices combined.
Yeah.
In fact, our busiest month since 2021. Which is great,
really
which may sort of hide what's going on in the background a little bit. We do keep saying every month is great, so it does sound like a estate agency spiel, but volume has been increasing month on month. Not the case with exchanges, unfortunately, so all being expertly handled, of course, but hopefully there's a tsunami of those coming through. How are you actually finding it in the marketplace at the moment?
Generally, it's positive. I mean, the market still sort of from post-Christmas to pre-Christmas is chalk and cheese. Buyers are very much sort of getting on with it now and accepting of the new interest rates and so on. There's certainly a lot more activity, but it's still very price sensitive. And there are certain pockets that are performing better than others. But I mean, viewing levels are good. They're not great. They're good, but the quality of the viewer is fantastic. So anyone out at the moment is very serious. They're genuine. And some of the prices that we are seeing are quite strong. We are getting bidding wars on properties again, which has sort of just come back to us. Even in the past week alone, I think we've had 3 sealed bids on properties. But yeah, it's still hard to predict, but it's very steady, I would say, and very, very stable is probably the right word for it.
So where would you say is you're very active?
Yeah, I think Greenwich is a slightly different market maybe to Blackheath. I mean, viewing levels are incredibly busy at the moment. So Saturdays are getting booked up very early in the week, whereas maybe this time last year it wasn't fully booked until we got to a Thursday or Friday, which I think is a really good sign. Valuation levels have really stepped up and sales levels have been excellent. So the lower price bandings seem to be getting really good traction at the moment, and a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom flats up to say 550, 600,000, or between say 350 to 600,000 are going a lot closer to the asking price.
Yeah, although
really
that lower end is still very price sensitive, I think, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom. Well, there's a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom flats on the market right now, so you have to be as reasonably priced as possible, and that's the most important thing at the moment.
So mid-range, Steve, for you guys is 6 to 1.2, I guess?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
Probably our most active price range.
Yeah,
actually.
a nice bracket, nice family houses.
Exactly that. People that are maybe making those second moves, moving out of necessity for the schools and whatnot. Yeah. That market does seem to be probably the strongest, I would say.
But as soon as we start going a little bit more prime, it is actually a slightly different story, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And again, I don't want to be too sort of negative about it, but the upper end of the market does seem to be the hardest or the most affected. It's the slowest. Yeah. Quite a lot of property available, but the sales volume that I'm picking up, not just from us, but actually all agents in the whole area, it is very slow. I think vendors just need to be a bit patient with that. Obviously, we're now approaching the
patience
right time
is the key, isn't
it? Completely. We're now approaching that peak time, really. People looking to move for the school holidays, sort of post-Easter, post-spring market will start to happen. And now, obviously, interest rates are coming down. Really positive news about inflation today.
Yes, down from 3.4 to 3.2.
I think it's lowest for, is it 3 years? I think that is the lowest.
Since October 22, I think.
Okay.
Which will then have an effect on that mid-range and upper range market. I mean, once the rates start
especially
to drop
as the
down
lower ends start moving as well.
Yeah, it all kind of ricochets up.
There were some interesting stats on that higher end, though, that I think it might be useful for people to hear.
Yeah, and actually looking back even so really current, so over the last couple of weeks, so since the 1st of April, There's actually only been one sale in the area. The area that we cover encompasses 6 or 7 postcodes, sort of Blackheath and 3 miles around.
Green, broccoli.
Absolutely. And there's been one sale, which was actually yesterday, at a very nice big house on the Cater estate, sold up around 2.4. But that's been the only sale north of 1.35 this month, which is a bit... It is incredible, and say slightly worrying, but I've got no doubt it will happen. The buyers are registering and the viewing levels are there. People are they're just biding their time at the moment.
Because you've already done more sales this month than you did last month.
But before I mentioned that, with the upper end market, I mean, we sold a house on Ashburnham Grove this week that started slow maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah. But then in the last week, it had loads more viewings booked in, just as we were coming into the latter half of the Easter holidays.
Which seemed to have gone on forever.
We had a lot of we had a lot of viewings over the weekend, and then bang, it went under offer on Monday.
It was early this year. Easter was March. Which I've not seen as well.
Yeah. So a lot of kids have been off for like 2.5 weeks. Yeah. But despite that, with everybody being away on holiday, you still pulled in some excellent figures. So it's all a bit of a confusing tapestry of stories.
But you just asked about this month so far. I mean, we've had the best start to a month that we've had for probably 2-3 years, with sales agreed, and we're only at mid-month.
Positive signs, I think, as we've touched on. Inflation down. Bank of England, understandably reluctant to reduce the base rate, which is hopefully May, June, most probably, with maybe another couple of reductions by the end of the year, which would be great. That's kind of spooked the swap markets, which has put pressure on mortgage rates. Mortgage rates have gone up a little bit, and that's probably dampened things as well. But hopefully that's a temporary blip. Yeah. And as those start coming down,
I think as soon as that base rate drops, I mean, personally, I think lenders are going to be falling over themselves to lower their fixed rate mortgages, whether it be 2 or 5 years, and I think that's going to draw a lot of buyers out of the woodwork.
Yeah, that's all being dictated by the swap rates, which will change. Certainly.
I think Santander, maybe either this morning or last night, they've dropped. I don't know what the figure was, but it's starting to happen, I think.
Yeah. Which I think leads up to a very busy summer.
It does, but I suppose the other elephant in the room is the forthcoming general election. Which is always a difficult period for the 3 to 4 months preceding a general election. It's been the same for the 6 out of the last 7 general elections. It does get much quieter, and it's not as said that there is going to be a bounce after a general election. Another thing to bear in mind when you are thinking about your timing with your sale. Yeah. All in all, very positive signs, although sort of different stories in various different parts of the marketplace. Just to finish off, well done, Steve. Number 1 Winkworth office. Again,
well done, mate.
We're all very proud of that. The guys have worked really hard to do that. Amazing. So really.
So that's for sales, lettings, and property management. So a team effort, and that's the last 4 out of the last 5 years. So amazing. And I know we shouldn't be blowing our own horn, but you did have a very interesting stat.
From Rightmove, actually, we had some bits come through last week. So actually for Q1 of this year, our office, so we actually compete with 245 other branches in our area, which is just a ridiculous amount of estate agents. It is insane.
I mean, that's not just Blackheath. I mean, that's Hither Green, parts of Broxley.
That's a crazy number. That's not including Greenwich.
No, that's not including Greenwich.
That's just Blackheath in your patch.
Yeah.
Right, but interestingly,
we had 6.8% of all the new instructions in that area, and we actually did 9.6% of all the sales agreed. Do you know what? As great as that is, it's actually a drop from Q4 of 2023. We had 10.4% of all the sales, but it's still 1 in 10. So I mean, it's just down to the guys' sort of hard work and honesty.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
Well, thanks.
If you enjoyed that, then please hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up, and the alert bell thingy and follow me on all my social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're on everything at Mark R Reps. We've got some great content on there and lots of walkthrough videos for our properties. We're also trying to post all our new instructions on my social media channels before they hit the market. So if you are looking to buy or rent, that's going to be a good place to start.